What's up, everybody? Yogi Chris, PhD here, talking about this word crazy. It gets thrown around a lot. She's so crazy. He's so crazy. That's crazy. The word has a literal meaning, and we can use it like, I don't want to say like flagrantly, but just kind of in passing. It's kind of like the word bitch. People get really offended. Some people don't. It's really interesting. Some women will say, I'm losing like female followers right now. Like some women will say, you can't talk like that. Like it's disrespectful, this or that. Other women will laugh. Just like, maybe it comes down to the usage. What's your tonality when you say, what's the context, right? Okay, so take this word crazy. Crazy has a real meaning, and it's not good. When you say someone is crazy, that really means insane asylum. That's what crazy means. Now, we all have what are called aberrations, and this is, you could call it subconscious. It's unconscious, subconscious patterns of how our sensations are anchored to past experiences. Meaning, if something in the environment maybe re-stimulates a past experience, some of the sensations or all of the sensations of that prior trauma may re-enter the system, and it won't make sense because we don't notice what it is that triggered. It's not like there's something with a label on it says trigger on it. Like it could be the passing of a car or the particular phrase that's said to you. The guy has a mustache and the guy that hit you had a mustache. It's weird. And then if you can put two or three of these things together, the car passes at the same time the guy with the mustache says the thing that triggers you. Boom, it's like you're in full-blown trigger. You don't even realize that when you were 8 years old, something traumatic happened around with a mustache guy around and somebody else said the phrase and a car. Like, it's amazing really how it happens. And so we don't know why maybe a lot of our moods are coming. And they'll ascribe it up to astrology. That's the fallacy of astrology, is a lot of these things that are really just invisible subconscious patterns, not influenced by gravity, just influenced by the decisions of the people around you growing up. And then your decisions that came later, lack of awareness, and so just unconscious decision making. And we're talking about karma, right? This is why yoga and communication, they must come together. You can't become antisocial or a worse communicator practicing yoga. It's not good yoga practice. And if you're communicating so well, but you don't practice yoga, I'm telling you, you're lacking in awareness of your body, your sensations. You might be up there. Maybe you were gifted with sensitivity like that. You can go more because you're not practicing all-embracing, holistic, physical, psychological practice, with mantras and breathing and postures and all sorts of great stuff. Okay, so getting back to this word crazy. We all go a little crazy sometimes because we have crazy in us. I don't know anybody that's fully liberated. I have very high references for liberation in social contexts because every yoga master I met is hella awkward in social context, which means violating to other people. Now, maybe they're holding it down for bliss, contentment. They're a pillar of enlightenment. But if it's offensive to other people, you got to look in the group you're in. That takes away from them. Maybe you wake some people up, and that's how they'll rationalize it. You wake people up in the long term because they see me, and then 10 years later, maybe the seed blossoms. I can't prove or disprove that. I can definitely prove in the present moment it causes suffering if you really push everyone's buttons. And they do that very passively because yoga teachers and yoga masters, meditation masters, they're not offending people with their direct communication. They're not going up and causing problems. So it's just the beingness has that quality. Sometimes it doesn't. It's all context dependent, but I never wanted to be that. I saw that happening in my life, and I saw that happening with the teachers that I would come across, and they were the best of the teachers in the yoga facility. And and all admiration to them. That's great. But I measure in the relationship with women as a guy, and of course with a girl, I measure your relationship with your man, and relationship with family, how you tell your story about your life. If you talk about your life like it's crazy, look at that. That's unconsciousness, right? It's not a word. It's like love. It's used so much that now they can just say you are love. And it's like, really? Is that why I'm so much heavier than you? Because I'm more love than you? I don't get it. You are love. You mean like you're just using a word that has other meanings and you're going to ascribe it to this. And so it confuses people Their minds get confused and they'll wonder why they can't convince anybody of anything. It's because the sound in their voice is confused. They might speak it as if they make sense to them, or they regurgitate from a book and it made sense when they read it, but they sound uncertain about it. And you're not designed as a biological machine, meaning evolution. You're designed actually to repel uncertainty and not follow it and not listen to it. So you got a bunch of people preaching the truth, not listening to each other because they read it from someone else who actually had the sincerity or somehow faked it. But that's actually difficult. If everybody's eyes are on you consistently, eventually you'll be seen to be incongruent, right? And that's what happens when crazy comes out. When we get triggered, the crazy comes out because we become incongruent to who we were being when we were conscious. It's the unconscious pattern that comes up. And I realized I was looking over here, but the camera's on this side of the phone. So I look over here. And so this happens to us all. But to say that somebody is crazy is like to say someone is a bitch. They're probably not. Maybe they behaved like it in that moment. And of course, that is, how technical are we saying? They behaved like a bitch? Like what does that even really mean? Did they behave like a female dog? Like they said, like, so it's still so slang. Versus crazy has some definitions. I'm not going to read them to you. I don't have them out right now. Some aberration from logical thinking, irrationality, and basically stimulus response, animal reaction. It's crazy, right? Or all sorts of things. I'm sure there's psychotherapists and whatever that have tons of definitions. Multiple personalities, thinking, misassociating, misidentifying, and that's where you get the word crazy will bleed slightly into other parts of the language because it's used so in contexts that are less serious than absolutely crazy, right? So just be aware of this word. Maybe you use it, maybe you don't. Maybe it's funny when you use it, maybe it makes sense, but I want to make the point because I have clients and yoga improves this craziness, right? Yoga improves self-awareness. It improves our ability to observe our own aberrations and, unconscious insanities, really. And because who's consciously insane, really? They're unaware, or they're a sociopath, meaning they just don't feel remorse for people. They don't feel empathetically. They're not duplicating. They're not mirroring other people's experiences. That's a normal human thing. That's how we learn language, is to mirror. And so maybe they learn language to practically mirror, but they didn't feel it. So they don't feel what other people are going through. It's a very small proportion of the society. So basically everybody, this word crazy, the yoga improves our ability to observe our own insanities. I have seen people get better. And so in that, I've learned both compassion, but also understanding. It's not just senseless compassion. I'm not compassionate for my abuser or something like that. Like some people have to convince themselves of that. Okay. There's a way to be compassionate for your perpetrator, right? But I don't think you really need to be. I think compassion would be when I'm getting off on a different topic, but when they take responsibility for what happened. And then you could start, with that. Otherwise, there's a reason why not to be compassionate, so that they don't do it again, and you don't allow them to do it again, right? So versus the slave philosophy would be compassionate no matter what, and that would allow crime to continue. And that's against harm. The first principle of yoga is non-harm, but that means you got to call out evil so it doesn't harm others. Okay? So crazy. So I have seen this improve in yoga practitioners. I have witnessed that people that are alcoholics, people that are traumatized as children, sexually, on all sorts of varieties of different things. And how experienced am I? I don't know. I've seen enough to see a pattern that I've seen insanity come out of people. And then it seems like when they see it, they observe it, like they're unconscious, they're blind to it. And then when they see it, then they willingly snap out of it. You didn't have to correct them at all. There are other physical damages, like a friend that had a motorcycle accident. So he's all physically working, supposedly, but does that affect his ability to, because he was lost his personality for many, many months, totally lost, and then it came back. So the brain damage, right? I don't know. That might be what is getting close to what crazy is, but I haven't seen evidence in the behavior other than alcoholism and Nothing outside of the regular norm of what I've seen myself or other people when they go crazy, when they get triggered. Just say weird things, say insane things. They don't make sense. Now I've gotten so much better, you won't see that level come out of me now, hopefully. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe there's more to dig up. But it seems to be on a steady path towards more sanity and more ability to handle my environment consciously. And this is what yoga can offer, good yoga practice. So I offer good yoga practice in the silent flute. There's many free here on this YouTube channel. The silent flute is more customized, more advanced, and in many ways, I mean, there's more beginner too, but it's more advanced in the student's experience because YouTube is just, you click and play and you don't know if it's right for you. And so I put general stuff on it. You get it? That's at ninthlimb.com. The link is below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one. Namaste.